All right, so let's see what happened last game. So you guys were traveling down the road on your way to a city called Amberport, where you're hoping to make a new life, be in some way, shape, or form, be it through teaching or priestly duties or what have you. You stopped at the Goat Horn Inn for the evening, which is a midway point between wherever it was you were coming from and on the way to the city of Amberport. It's a small little inn rests on the side of a rather large forest. Inside, you see there was an older woman and then a younger man that she was with, two dwarves, Gelda and Ananda, who ran this small place, and then a lad that they took care of named Bester. Let's see, Ananda mentioned for, I remember names here, Mud to go check on the old man that was in the room, who he ended up finding who was dead. He woke up as an undead creature of some sort and made a short little attack. You guys took quick work of him, but after you take care of him, the whole outside of this place was surrounded by undead zombie-like creatures, most of them shambling ones, a few flying type ones. From there, a basic battle ensued as these undead were trying to get into the building and kill you all. A few rounds of combat, you took out most of what was in there. The old woman ended up getting dragged through the window and dying. Ananda, the dwarf, had a large branch that was shot through her chest, and Lyle, the younger lad, ended up killing himself since he was unable to take care of this older woman who was his mother and get her back to her family. From there, you would try to figure out what best to do. Bester suggested that you all make a run for it, that he was quite quick, and he would offer a pony for Mornak to ride. Mud, you grabbed this kid's body to use to feed off the zombies on your way out the door. And everybody basically hauled ass after that. You're able to get through most of it. Started to get surrounded a little bit, but you dropped off the body of Lyle to distract them, kept on running. In the distance, Bester's torch just kept getting further and further away from you as this thick, heavy smog started rolling in. That's Tim. And that is basically where we ended it. I don't believe there was anything major outside of that. Mud, you did take this large knot of wood out of this zombie's mouth. At the time, you couldn't really remember what this was, but it seems like it has some bit of remembrance to you. So didn't forget about that, but it hasn't come up yet. So once that arrives or something kind of kicks your memory of that, I will let you know. Just to let you know I didn't forget.
Sounds good.
And that is it, unless anybody wants to add anything extra that happened in there.
Stuck in the mist, sound of wolves.
Yes. You can hear the massive sound of wolves in the distance around you guys. Let's see, close that. So I will sort of read this little opening bit that I have just to kind of get everybody on the same page and get things moving. And then I'll let you do your short introduction, and then we can kind of kick things off from there. Hey, Tim, how's it going?
I'm doing okay. I'm sorry for being late. I had to take my dad to a doctor's appointment. I just got back.
No worries. All I did was just a little quick recap of what's going on, so no worries. All right. So that said, as you guys left this tavern, chasing after young Bester, it's not necessarily a young man. He looks like he's perhaps in his 20s, maybe even 30 at best, but he still has that mentality of a child and seems very simple-minded, innocent, childlike sort of ambience about him. He assured you all that he was very quick as he took off out this door, everybody following along. You dragged along Lyle's body, dropped that behind you, distracting the zombies for the best. A few claw scrapes here and there and some gnashing teeth, but ultimately all of you are able to get out of this horde and further down this road. The further you get, the heavier this fog becomes until it's just so thick you can barely even see a few feet in front of you. You can see Bester's torch fading away into the distance, getting softer and softer, this yellowish pinprick of light. And even Vasily, this quick fawn, and Mornak, you on your pony, can't keep up with this lad. He's supernaturally quick, it seems. And within a few moments, his torch is gone. You don't see anything but this thick, gray fog that wraps around you. You guys kept running at least as long as you could before just being exhausted and out of breath. A good 15, maybe 20 minutes. You come to a trot and continue on this path in front of you. You can barely see the road at your feet. Your friends that are right beside you, you can hear each other breathing heavily. You can hear the squash of the pony's foot or hooves in the mud as you continue to walk. And we'll pick it up there. Mud, why don't you give us what is you feeling? What are you thinking? How is this affecting you?
Well, growing up with the brutality of my work family, and then exiled for years in the frozen tundras, the civilized folks of the realms never cease to amaze me. Since I've been traveling with my new companions, I've seen the bravery of dwarves and honor among humans. Acceptance, strangely. That's what makes what happened tonight at the Goat Horn so tough. A myriad of civilized folk easily accepted me, and we were unable to save all of them. At the very least, we thought we could keep Bester safe, but he's run off in the mist. And now the three of us are alone with the sounds of wolves. Really hope we can find him at some point.
Indeed, you do hear wolves. There's black pools of water stand like these dark mirrors in and around the muddy roadway. As each of you walk along, gasping what breath you can and trying to rest the best you can for the moment while keeping your pace moving. Giant trees loom on both sides of the road, their branches almost clawing at the mist around you. And ahead of you, the mist seems to pull away from the muddy road, making your path more visible, though just barely. And there, something glimmers. Yes, a bit of metal or perhaps a bit of jewelry of some sort up ahead, maybe 10, 15 yards. And the mist itself, it's choking. It's thick on either side of you. And if you turn, it's even right up to your back. But ahead of you, just enough you can see this, almost as if it's clearing the roadway for you. Or perhaps it's leading you somewhere. What do you do?
Almost seems too easy, but that might be our safest route. And anybody see where Bester went?
A trap is, if it's a trap, there's no way that we can avoid it anyway at this point, but it's better than being lost in the woods, roaming around in circles. We might circle back upon that horde of creatures. At least with these roads, you can follow a definite path.
The best way to spring a trap is to spring it. I say we go forward on this road.
Now all we have to decide is which way.
Ahead of you is the most clear path. Doesn't look any safer or more or less dangerous, really. But at least the mist is a little bit more pliable, a little less choking for you. And again, whatever that is up ahead in the ground glimmers. And this is the first time you notice and glance up at the sky, maybe trying to judge what time it may be by the moon. But there is no moon in the sky. You don't see its soft glow behind the clouds. You don't see clouds. You don't see stars. just pitch blackness above. And yet there seems to be some sort of ambience, as if there's moonlight without a moon.
Where have the stars gone? This makes me uneasy.
Find this might be the least ominous portion of this night so far. But that's not saying much.
If we survive the night, I'll take it as a good omen.
And he can't use the trash can because he's only 19.
Again, you can hear these wolves howling. They seem a bit closer this time. It's hard to tell if they're coming towards you or maybe just echoing through the hills and the woods around you. But there's plenty of wolves here. Whatever it is, they're on the hunt for something.
Preferably not us.
Indeed.
No way to go but forward at this point.
Yeah.
Let's move on, shall we?
And move forward, you do. Take a few steps.
Oh, wow.
Your feet splashing in the rain-soaked road. And you notice then, too, it is no longer raining.
Yeah.
There's no thunder, no lightning. But,
This isn't my family.
oops,
This isn't my household.
you got a lot of background noise on your end, Kevin. But just up ahead, you can see this bit of glimmer in the road. And Mud, you step up to it first and look down. You'll see that it is a necklace. It is lying there in the mud. It looks like a gold chain with a small leaf-like locket attached to the end of it.
Well, this is conspicuous. I go over and stoop down, look at it, and pick it up.
And instantly you think back. You've seen this before, Vasily. In fact, you had a family member who had one exactly like this. Whose was it?
It was my sister's.
You
She got it from one of her many bows when she was in her late teens.
hold this in your hand, the chain draped through your fingers, and look at this. As you flip it over, you can see on the back 3 simple initials. Whatever your sister's name may have been, those initials match perfectly. As you open up this locket, inside you see a portrait of those that you had within your family, a simple heirloom that she would have held within this. It is your sister's necklace as far as you can tell. It has the same scratch along the back from that time she dropped it down the ravine.
I'm just standing there completely still looking at this.
Up ahead, you can see the fog clears a little bit more, as if it's just parting the waters, per se. It separates a little bit. The road ahead becoming a little bit more clear, but behind you it seems to constantly roll forward with each step, trailing you like these wolves that seem to be getting closer and closer.
I look around where it was dropped at. Are there footprints? Is there any sign that someone came around and intentionally left it recently?
It's hard to tell if it's recent or not with all the mud and puddles, slosh. But yes, there's many footprints, all different size. There's animal prints, hooves, wagon wheel ruts. They all look at least as fresh as they could look in this mud that's around.
All these tracks don't make sense.
My sister's been dead for years.
And you will look at when you left the Gold Horn, you were headed back west, the way you had originally came from to get here. You don't remember this road having trees on either side. You don't remember this more well-worn path. The one you took was a bit more seasonal, not as muddy, not as dry, not as much traveled. This area doesn't look familiar at all. But there was only one road here, one road out.
Let's keep moving. I want to get out of this fog and out of this darkness. Maybe we can find civilization up ahead. Like, I hastily stuffed that necklace in my pocket.
Agreed. Let's continue forward.
I think someone or something is toying with this, and I don't like it.
So, onward you move. Time passes. You're not sure how much. It seems like you've been walking for hours, maybe. You never see a hint of moonlight, stars, really nothing. Behind you, the fog is constantly rolling at your heels, but in front of you, the path is clear, at least on the main road. The thick fog on either side of the road, and the woods still remains. Nothing in the scenery seems to change, just like you're just walking in place. Some of the trees may look a little different. Branches reach out a little bit further. But it all just looks the same.
This makes no sense. We came from this direction. We weren't wandering this long on our way towards the end.
Nope.
I spent many years in the realm of the Fae, and it's this type of trickery that I grew accustomed to. I think we've fallen into some Fae trap.
And as you finish that sentence, it seems the fog itself clears just a little bit into the distance. This fake, odd moonlight that exists yet doesn't exist gets a little bit brighter. And ahead, jutting out from this impenetrable woods on both sides of the road, is a high stone buttress looming gray in the fog. It's more like a fortress wall, it seems like. Huge iron gates that hang on the stonework, 50, 60, 70 feet high in the air, perhaps. Dew clings off the walls, off of the iron. Everything seems to be rusted and decrepit. Two headless statues of armed guardians flank the gate, their heads now lying among the weeds at their feet. And they greet you with silence. You don't hear the sloshing of your boots in the mud. You can't hear birds or forest animals. You don't even hear the wolves at the moment. Just dead silence as you look at this, for lack of terms, a fortress wall before you. I will put a picture over in the chat for us.
Perhaps you're right. Maybe there is fey trickery here.
Look at these walls. It looks old, very, very old. It's massive. Something of this sort's for all of you that may have traveled through here, and even if not, you would have at least heard something. But no, this is completely foreign, and it seems like it's been here forever.
At this point, I don't care. Let's just find a way inside. We'll play along with their game.
I agree. Or defensible position at the very least.
And out of the rain.
least these walls will provide some protection from wolves, hopefully. And if any of those undead monstrosities have been trailing after us.
And with that, as you're maybe 50 yards from these towering rusted gates, you can see that they hang open 5 or 6 feet in front of you, almost welcoming you to beyond. But you can hear much closer this time the howling, the barking of these wolves. And if you glance behind you, though the fog is still there, not quite as thick as it was, you can see the bounding forms of what looks to be maybe a dozen wolves at least, rushing out of the woods down the pathway towards you.
The hunt is on and the game is afoot. Let's get inside quickly and see if we can close those gates. And I start taking off towards the walls, the gates.
Your fawn friend breaks off into a sprint, running towards these gates.
I'll smack the behind of the pony and take off running as well.
So before you even need to snap the reins on this pony Mornek, you can hear the large slap of the orc's hand across its ass as it takes off. And behind him, the thudding footsteps of mud. These wolves catch up quickly. Just by the time you reach these gates, they're maybe a dozen yards behind you, if that. Vasily, you slip through, followed by this small pony, Mornek, atop it. And Mud, you're the last to go through these gates. They're quite large, heavy iron gates. It'll take quite a bit of strength, but if you can get them closed, the wolves, they won't be able to fit through the bars.
Let's all of us together try to push this, pull them closed. Do they open out or in?
The way you are headed towards it, they would open out, so you'd be pulling them closed inward.
Okay, so I am going to. Do I have any rope?
I have rope. I'll tie some rope to the pony and the other.
Tie to the horn on the saddle.
Yeah, and then I'll slap it so that it runs as fast as it can.
All right. Mud, why don't you give me a strength check with 3 boons?
With 3 boons?
Yep. So you'll just take the highest number on the d6, whatever one's the highest, and tap that in.
So 12, strength 2, 14. And my first roll on the boon was a 6, so 20 total.
Nice. So with that, you grab a hold of these bars and tie this rope off quickly. Between the pony, Vasily, yourself, all pulling on the huge rusted gate. It lets out this screeching iron rusted hinges with a slam. It slams shut. Just on the other side as these mangy looking wolves crash into it, their teeth snarling, biting, trying to get through the bars at you. These wolves look hungry, angry, mangy, not healthy by any means. Starved, perhaps.
Has it been 4 hours since the attack at the tavern?
You tried to judge how long you've been walking. You're not sure. There's nothing to give you a sense of time. It seems like it's been like that, maybe even longer, but you have no idea.
My question is my arcane armor still up from the last battle?
What would be the duration on that?
4 hours.
4 hours, so yes, it would be gone.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Now that we're somewhat safely inside, I'm going to start looking around, seeing what's inside of this fortress.
On the other side, it is basically, it's like the Great Wall of China. So you can step through. Where you're at now, it's a long hallway, maybe 100 yards or so, before it exits out the other side. But otherwise, it's just a tunnel you would walk down. There seems to be nothing. There's no scrawling on the walls. It's just cobblestone. No windows, no nothing.
So it's just a tunnel going through this, a wall?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to start heading down away from the gate.
You can hear the snarling, gnashing of teeth of these wolves behind you as they smash up against the iron gates, no avail. Eventually they calm down, but they pace back and forth in front of this gate, watching you as you all move away from the doors. And for the brief moment, you could have swore you heard some sort of laughter. Dark, mysterious, but seems to be gone on the wind. Clearly just a figment of your imagination, a trick of your ears.
What was that? Did you hear that?
Sound like laughter on the wind, further cementing my belief that there's fey trickery about.
But why would they trick me? I am fey.
They trick whoever they want to.
As you say.
The Fey Lords are not given to loyalty towards even their own. The horrors that I saw them commit.
Fickle bunch they are.
Why don't you all give me perception checks?
Sorry, what check?
Perception.
$16.
Anybody beat a 16?
Nope, 11.
I have a 19.
All right. Well, in that case, as you pull through this tunnel and reach the other side, you met with the same thing you were before. Just towering trees. These ones seem to be much larger than before, but they look close to the same, just old pine and fir evergreens. The tops seem to be lost in this heavy gray mist, and it blocks out all but this death gray, morbid sort of moonlight casts across the ground. The tree trunks are unnaturally close to one another, and the woods have the silence of forgotten graves. They exude this feeling of just unvoiced screams and despair. Between
Is there any signs?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there any signs of recent traffic, footprints, cart tracks, anything?
As you reach this side, not really. Nothing recent. You can see a few ruts here and there, but the ground is dry. It's damp, but it's not like mud and rain drenched like it was before. It's just your typical damp sort of ground. No recent looking tracks. You can see the ruts where wagons have passed, but that's about it. But as you look at this, Mornek, you notice at first you can smell this sweet, almost foul at the same time stench. As you walk a little bit further, yes, it's a scent of death, of decay, of something rotting.
Something's rotting here. I can smell it on the wind. There's dead bodies or decay or something here.
Gets stronger the more you move down this path. Then you can see it up ahead. This something humanoid. Maybe it's human. It's half buried underneath the underbrush, about 15 feet off the road, just a little bit inside the woods. You can see what looks to be a hand up in the air, kind of over top of a log. Part of a leg that has been ripped open. Flies buzzing quite heavily around it. As you walk to the side, Mornek, and try to peer between these trees, this thick pine foliage. It's definitely a man, a young man, human, maybe. The body looks mutilated, as if it's been mostly eaten. Crows pick at it, flies buzz. You notice many wolf paw prints around. It's been dead for several days. In his hand, you can see what looks to be a small satchel of sorts hanging over the log.
I'll take the satchel and see what's inside.
There is a small pamphlet, a letter, envelope, and it has a wax seal marked with a B. You peel that seal off and open it up?
No, when
This
when
letter
he was getting
unfolds.
divorced from her, when he split up and
I found a letter.
his wife
Could be the Fae tricking us again. I'm going to open it and read it.
and
Who cares whose seal this is? And I break it.
And she asked him
I
to
sent
hold off
that
the
over
divorce
to
after
you
her
in
mother passed.
the Facebook chat.
So she hasn't passed yet.
And I'll give you
Exactly.
guys a sec to read that. You see, it seems to be some sort of letter from a burgomaster. The term seems to be lost on you. You're not sure what this burgomaster is, but
Is this a human term, burgomaster?
get the sense it's something of notable position. None of you have heard this word, or maybe if you have, it's something more distant, more archaic, old.
And of course, I'm sharing the letter with my companions.
Vampire. I thought those things were legends.
I've seen many things in my travels over the last 850 years, and I've never seen a vampire, but I suppose they should exist.
And as all of you are crowded around each other and looking at this letter, this sweet smell of death that seems to linger in the air, it's stomach-wrenching, yet oddly sweet at the same time. You hear this low, deep growl that interrupts your study. Vasily, as you lift your eyes, you stare back at the yellow orbs of a large, mangy-looking wolf. Its teeth are bared in hostility, just inches from your own face. You hear the snap of a branch to your left and risk a momentary side glance. You can see another wolf as it slinks out of the darkness, and then a third to your right, and a fourth behind you.
As quickly as I'm going to go fast.
Yeah, yep. All right, who would like to go fast?
They're surrounding us.
Yep, so you're basically flanked at the 4 compass points, one on either, basically each side of you, front of you, behind you. 4 of them in total. They all look mangy, ragged, almost rabid, or not healthy looking by any means.
I will go fast.
Let's see, what's fast? And Mornak, would you like to go fast or slow?
Fast.
Fast. All right. With that, let's see. Mornak, you would be up first then. What would you like to do? You can see they're getting ready to lunge in. So
I am going to go ahead and do spell recovery to heal the damage I took from the last battle and regain a use of my unerring dart.
all right. Is that an action or a bonus action?
It's an action.
Okay. Gotcha. So heal your bit of damage there, recover that spell. And let's see, Vasily, you would be next.
With this thing staring me in my face, I just stumble backwards and I cast arcane armor on myself.
All right.
Are we in the dark, or is this
It's
lit?
dark, but it's like nighttime as far as you can tell, with as if you would expect from a full moon. So it's
Okay.
eerily white, but there's nothing there to be given at this light. It seems fake almost. All right, so casting that. What does that put your armor at? Your defense?
Up by 2 from 11 to 13.
You got it. And to do Mud, you would be next then.
Seeing both my companions react defensively, I believe Mud would do the same thing. He'd reach one of his frostbitten hands up, and ice will start covering his body, and he will cast ice armor.
All right.
I'm sorry. It went from 12 to 14.
14. I gotcha. What does that put your defense at, Mud?
17.
17. And Mornak, what's your defense currently?
Sorry about that. My headset went funky. My defense is currently 12.
Gotcha. All right. And with that directly in front of you, Vasily, you'll see this wolf lunge in. You can see that they all sort of act in unison with one another, keep space between each other, and the typical hunting pack tactics. If you don't get out of the way or do something quickly, you will all quickly succumb to this. The one in front of you,
how many there are?
There's 4 total that you see. And actually, as you look around, so give me a perception roll before I...
That's only a 7.
Yeah, so as you glance around quickly, as far as you can tell, there's only these 4, but you get this hair, or this, I guess you're found, this fur on the back of your neck stands up a little bit. Something don't seem right. And the one in front of you lashes forward, these snarling teeth. They're thick, yellow. The breath is hot, but it just snaps beside your ear, not able to get a hold of you. Mud, you will see the 2 on the sides quickly circle around you, coming in, and they move in unison with one another. The one on the left first, which will not hit the one other one. The one on the left rushes in. See it snapping it at your heels, at your hands. As you take a step back, it's right into the jaws of this one behind you. Take 4 points of damage as this thing's teeth come crushing down on the back of your left thigh. You could feel its teeth sink in, and this warming fluid of blood just starting to pour down your leg. And the last one goes sort of behind you, Mornak. You can hear it as it's coming up behind you, quickly and trying to use your ability here to heal up a couple wounds, get a spell back. Just as you turn on this thing, it too will lash forward. It only grazes across your hands, but just able to chomp down on a couple fingers. You can feel the bones crack underneath its teeth before it steps back, almost as if it's toying or just playing with you a little. And with that, Mud, give me a perception roll.
No.
Quickly distracted by this thing, you're not able to notice much more, but perhaps Mornak will. Mornak, go ahead and give me a perception roll.
No, natural 4.
And all of you can...
That's exactly what I rolled.
Much too chaos going on, but there's something that doesn't seem right about this. You can all at least feel that as you look around and you look at these wolves. That's the end of the round. So who would like to go fast?
I'm going fast.
Gotcha.
Fast as well.
Also fast.
All right. Yeah, okay. Mornak, you're up first. All of these would technically be within short range of you guys, so.
I'm going to take my staff out, and I'm going to go ahead and attempt to whack the one that hit me with my staff.
All right.
And that is a 6 to hit, so probably does not hit.
It does not. You swing towards this thing, and it quickly leaps back a few steps, and its teeth tear at the staff that you swing towards it, almost in a mockery, a playing fetch with this wolf. Maybe it's gnashes a few times, but Starly starts to crawl back in. It's slinking real low to the ground, ready to pounce. Vasily, you are up.
So are we obscured by shadow or darkness, or are we just...
Yeah, this will count as darkness, especially with the trees, because you're kind of in the trees a little ways too. So yeah.
Okay. Because if we're obscured by darkness, I'm going to cast my cantrip of Nightfall Blade.
Okay.
It's going to summon a shadowy blade into my hand, and I'm going to take a swipe at this one that just bit at me. Ooh, that's a 5.
Swipe your blade at this thing. Trim a few hairs across its nape of its neck, but otherwise it just able to quickly move out of the way, slowly rotating with the others, slinking between, always across from its opponent or its partner. Mud, you are up. One tearing at your foot, trying to distract you, while the other one just continues to tear at the back of your leg.
So as the ice was forming from the ice armor, and the wolf found a opening and bit in, instinctively blood tenses up, and just a blast of cold comes from him, and it begins to try to blast back the those within direct reach of me. They would need to make a strength challenge roll.
All right. Let's see. So the two of them or all of them?
Anybody within direct reach of me.
Would be these two. Okay. And both fail.
All right. So both of them take 5 points of damage. And as the ice and kind of comes back into me, the armor's reinforced because that also heals me for my healing rate.
All right. You can see the one in the front steps back, whimpering a little, its face frosted up. The one behind shakes its head back and forth violently as bits and pieces of this ice has started to cake across its face and froze into its teeth. All right. With that, the wolves are up. Again, this one in front of you, Vasily, slowly slinking back, always keeping its other pack partner just opposite of it, continuing to flank you. That's going to be a 24.
Yeah, that pretty much hits.
It's going to be 3, 6, 7 points of damage, and I need a strength check to not be tripped.
I rolled a 12.
All right. So this one, it quickly drops down low as you were trying to swipe at it with your blade and goes in, latching tight to your inside of your groin. As it pulls back, you can feel yourself get ripped forward, but stay on your feet for the moment. This warm blood just rolling down your moving legs. One behind you lets out a bit of a growl, Mornak, before lunging in once again, and completely whiffing on that apparently as it lunges past the side of you. On the other side, Mornak. Both of these will come in quickly, almost out of sync with one another. It seems this cold blast that he did put them back a few feet. It distracted them enough that neither is able to get a hold. You can just feel their hot breath and the gnashing of these teeth graze against your body, but they don't sink in. And you'll notice at first, Mornak, as you're sort of facing back towards this one that's behind you, out towards the road, this light that seems to be coming down the road. You can see this wagon, it looks like. You can hear the creaking and croning of this old carriage rolling down the road. Its wooden wheels rolling along the damp path. You see an old white-haired man. His skin is pulled tight, almost skeletal-like, in the driver's seat of this wagon. Both of the horses pulling the wagon look oddly old, sick, decrepit almost. They much too thin, very unhealthy-looking horses. And he'll snap the reins, and you hear them let out this whinny sound as he stops. and steps off the side of this, unlashes what looks to be a small box, and places it down on the road. Begins to climb back aboard this wagon and looks into the woods where all of you are. And it seems for like just a moment he locks eyes with you, Mornek, as you're looking ahead. But then the wolves are all upon you once again. Who would like to go fast?
Fast. Vasili's is fast.
Vasili's fast. Mornek fast too, you said?
Yeah.
Yep. And Bud?
Also fast.
All right. Vasily, why don't you give me a perception check?
I'm still completely rattled by all this. I roll a 5.
All right.
I'm more intent on this thing that's gnashing its teeth in my face.
As perhaps you should be. Mornak, you are up.
I'm going to go ahead and cast Arcane Shield on myself. So that imposes 1 Bane on attack rolls against me with defense or agility.
Okay. Bane. Don't forget that when I attack you.
I put my 2 fingers towards my temple, and I telepathically summon this spell.
Beautiful. Just, I got a note, but just remind me when I attack you that I got that.
Will do.
And Vasily, you are up. There's this cold air that washes over you, and at first you might think it's coming from your friend behind you in this ice armor, but no, it's deathly cold. Seems like the air around you just drops in temperature. You are up.
Okay, so I feel this cold air rush coming towards me, but I'm still mostly intent on this wolf. I'm going to try to slice out of my shadow blade.
And as I see you taking that swing, you'll actually feel even a little bit more of a temperature drop in the area as I drop the temperature around the wolf as well, granting you a boon on your attack.
Oh, okay. Oh, and I rolled a 6. So that's a total of 18.
That is a hit. Go ahead.
I do 8 points of damage.
Ouch. You sink your blade deep into this wolf in front of you that lets out a howl of pain. You see it rip back. Now, most wolves, at least from what you're familiar with, or all of you would normally taking this kind of damage and this wound that you lashed onto this thing, nearly severing its front leg off of it, would be trying to pull away, but it just growls in defiance. It begins to slink back in towards you, Vasily. And that would put Mud up. Go ahead and roll me a perception check, Mud.
9.
None of you are perceptive right now, as apparently you're a little hindered and distracted. Go ahead. What do you do?
In the dark woods with wolves surrounding us, yeah, we have some other things to be focused on.
So, with my hand still out towards the wolf that was attacking Vasily, I'll spin it towards the wolf closest to me and just close my fist and make that temperature drop all of a sudden around that creature, casting freeze. I need to make a will attack against her agility.
Agility is a 13.
No, it's not going to do it.
It slinks, moves, seems to weave between these bushes, always snapping at your feet. This other one behind you, you're not able to get the focus that you need on these things. They're quite skilled in their tactics, it seems. Behind you, you'll notice it, Mornek, the others, maybe just from the glance, but as you look out across between these few trees to the road, you can see this old man who's already back atop of his wagon and starting to pull the way. He doesn't give you a second glance, Mornek, or even seem to much care, even through the sound and the noise and the snarling and all of your screams. Snaps the reins, and you see the cart pull away into the distance, rolling once again down the path. It would be headed towards where you came and back towards like that large wall, but within just a few seconds, it disappears into this thick fog that still chokes the area. Who would like to go fast?
I'll go fast.
I'll go fast.
I have not seen the cart, right?
Yeah, might have caught it just in glances, but not fully exactly now.
I will go fast as well then.
All right. Mornek, you are up first then. This one in front of you, yet to be hit, but you can hear that the other two are quite damaged. You can hear their whimpers and see the blood splattered across the ground.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cast Arcane Armor on myself, so that'll boost my defense by another 2.
Right. Got it. And with that, Vasily, you are up.
Now that I drew blood from this thing, I'm a little more confident that I can try to take it down. I'm going to try to hopefully finish it off. That's a 19 total.
That will probably finish it. Go ahead and roll damage.
9 points of damage.
Oh, yes. You see this thing and you wait for that moment. You see its jaws open as it lunges in, clearly intent on grabbing a hold of your throat. This blade sinks deep into its throat as you swipe it across, severing its lower jaw. You can watch it as it hits the ground in front of you. What little bit of life it has left, it lets out a whimper and then lies still. Mud, you are up. One on either side of you still, and you see the one that Vasily was dealing with go down.
I will seeing the ice not working. Mud will take his hand up to that scar along his neck again and pull his hand down, and lightning will jump out at the 2 of them within range of me. Will attack. Miss on one, natural 1 on the other. Oh, wow.
Bits of lightning crackle around you, dances across these things, but you'll notice when you cast this spell, it seems much weaker, as if your god isn't really listening, is it Father Winter?
Correct.
As if he's far away, or something's. His power doesn't seem to radiate like it should through you, and this spell is just small bits of sparks on your fingertips, and really nothing more. Almost as if he's forsaken you or forgotten you.
After a second of hesitation, as the sparks die down, he'll just reach down and put his hand on the handle of his flail. And that's it.
Vasily, why don't you give me a perception roll?
Hey, it's a 15 this time.
All right, with this wolf in front of you dropped to the ground and out of the way, you can see there's still 3 left, but glance around maybe to make sure there's none left, that you're not being flanked by more. You'll see deeper into the woods, between the trees, this thick pine foliage, and it looks to be large ferns that scatter across. Another wolf, this one much, much larger than the other 2, maybe 3-4 times the size of a horse easily, a large Clydesdale work-type horse. It's crouched back on its haunches. You see a large scar that runs up its muzzle, almost to underneath its eye, and it glows with this sort of black, bluish sort of light around it. And it stares back at you. These eyes, they're not the eyes of a wolf. They're almost human-like, or fey, or something else. Something is not right with its eyes, but it sits back. It doesn't move. It just watches. Who would like to go fast? Oh, wait. I got the wolves. I'm sorry. With that, the wolves will charge in. You can see you got one on either side of you. Mud. See them both lashing in. Even though your spell was weak, it seems to have at least kept them back for the moment. Mud, they not able to get a hold, and they sort of circle around you a little bit, waiting, bidding their time for an opening. On the other side, Mornak, you're not quite as lucky. I got a bane, actually. You are very lucky. This one will lash in. It looks like it's going to sink its teeth deep into your arm in that last sort of second. You can feel this power that comes across to you. And somehow it missed you. Sure that it might have been your arcane shield, but whatever the case, it slinks back a few feet, circles around, waiting again to get into an opening. And with that, who would like to go fast?
I'll go fast.
I will go fast.
More not fast. Gotcha.
So will I.
Gotcha. And that puts Mornak up first.
Okay, I'm going to cast Sense Thoughts. So I detect the location of each creature that is within the area and has an intellect score.
Okay.
Detected creatures cannot become hidden from me. And I have a sphere that's 10 foot in radius. And apparently I can keep that centered on myself when I move.
Okay. Do they have a save or anything, or is it just a straight up sense?
It's just a straight up sense.
So you don't get a full sense of intelligence from these wolves. At least, not the creatures themselves. It's as if something else is controlling them or pushing them forward. They're not acting like normal wolves. One's injured, like the two that are beside Mud, or the one that Vasily had would have surely took off and lived for another hunt. But these ones are pushed on. And though you don't sense any intelligence from them itself, you do sense something around you that is empowering them. As you look around, you too will see this wolf in the distance. It doesn't quite fall within your sphere, but looking at it, looking in at these wolves and this sense that you get from them, whatever that wolf is in the distance is quite intelligent. You get a sense of almost overwhelming power that seems to roll from this thing. And even though it doesn't make these wolves smarter, it certainly is controlling them, or is a part of them almost.
Mornak points at the wolf that's controlling them. Says, there's something there that's affecting these wolves. We must get there and defeat it.
That would put Vasily. You are up.
Okay, well, I see these. I turn around and I see that one. I saw him before, but since he's not making any direct movements, I'm just assuming that he's toying with us. I'm going to try to finish off one of these that's next to Mud that he's already damaged. I'm going to charge in and swipe at it with my sword. That's an 11.
11 does not quite hit. They continue to circle around Mud, and you get a swipe at one of these, but at that last second, its ears perk towards you and its eyes quickly look towards you as it darts out of the way. Just underneath your blade, Mud, you are up.
So as that wolf darts out of the way of the blade, Bud's gonna swing his flail around at its side. For 12.
Not quite. Flail swings past it. It's a little sapling that's started to grow out of the ground and deviates this flail just a bit, skimming across the top of the body, but not harming it much. The two wolves, since you took the swipe of this one, its eyes now on you. You see that it's distracted enough, Vasily, that it's broken off its flanking on Mud, and You've at least broken up these pack tactics a little as this thing rushes forward, a little bit out of sorts. Its technique interrupted, gnashing its teeth at your feet and making you dance back a few feet, but otherwise you're safe. Mud, on the other hand, as your flail comes tangled across the sapling and you try to pull it back, it quickly lunges in, these powerful jaws clamping down on your wrist as it shakes its head back and forth violently. Six points of damage, Mud. You feel the cracking of a wrist bone. And this thing, I need a strength check from you to not be pulled to the ground.
14.
You're good. You can feel it pulling at you and trying to get you down on the ground before it lets go and steps back. And Mornak. Again, your arcane shield. Does that Bane stays on there, right?
Yes, for the duration.
Okay.
Which is 1 minute.
Okay, so plenty. So yeah, once again, you can see this jaws of this thing lashing in. It's most certainly would have been a vicious bite, but this bit of arcane energy that protects you has done so once more. And with that, we would like to go fast.
I'll go fast.
I would like to go fast.
Gotcha.
I am going to go fast.
All right. Mornak, you are up first.
Okay. I'm going to... Well, let me ask you this. Is the wolf that's guiding these other wolves, is it within long range for me?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to cast Unerring Dart. I shoot 7 darts, and I'm going to point them all at this strange wolf. So it'll take 7 points of damage.
Got it. This wolf will sit there and it watches all of you, surrounded by these thick trees, and these unnatural eyes that it has. This intelligence you notice that exudes from it. Every dart will strike true, blasting at this creature. Its chest, side of its face, leg, stomach area as it sits back. Just showered in these sparks of energy, and it clears, and you look at this thing. It's almost as if it just smiles back at you, Mornak, completely unfazed by these darts that you have launched in its ways. And you'll see it turn and sort of licks its paw, cleans it off a little bit before it comes back and stares at you almost mockingly. You could swear that this thing was laughing at you if it had a voice. Celie, you are up.
So this one that just snapped at my feet while its head is low after it tried to grab my ankles, I'm going to try to swipe at it again and try to chop its head off. And that's a 14.
That's a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
That's 7 points of damage.
Describe how you kill it.
And indeed, as it just snaps at my ankle to try to pull me down like the other one did before, and as it does, lowers its head, I bring my shadow blade in and cleave its head completely off.
Your shadow blade digging deep into the earth. The other two still watch, and yet they still don't run. They just continue to fight. Mud, you are up. You're muted.
So I am. I'll take the one clamped up on my arm and kind of lift it off the ground a little bit, and the ice will start to form around my other hand where I'm holding the flail as I take another swing with the flail, but I'm using a triggered action as well.
Okay.
To prepare myself.
Okay.
To add a move. For 16 total.
That will be a hit.
All right. So that is 6 damage total.
Go ahead and describe how you destroy this creature.
Yeah, so as the flail comes around, and I'm kind of holding it by its teeth, like its teeth in my arm, holding it in the air, little shards of ice will pop out of the end of the flail as it rips into its side.
And its teeth loosen as it drops from your arm and crumples into a heap at your feet. 3 of these creatures dead on the ground. This one yet to be hurt, but it doesn't back down, even with its companions dead, slayed before it. It circles a little bit, looking for an opening on Mornak. Got a bane. Once again, not able to find it. It gnashes at your feet, lunges at your hands, tries to get behind you, Mornak, but your energies keep up for the moment, unable to let this thing through your defenses. And it's done. One of these creatures is left. Who would like to go fast?
I'll go fast.
I'm going slow.
I will also go fast.
Gotcha. In case, Vasily, you are up first then.
So I finish off this one wolf, and I look around quickly to see any others. And I see this other one over by Mornak, and I move as quickly as I can to get over there to try to gut it. And that's a 19.
That is a hit.
That's 6 points of damage.
Gotcha. Your blade will dig deep into the side shoulder of this thing, tearing down through its shoulder, its collarbone, ripping through the meat. It lets out a bit of a howl in pain. You can see its eyes stare back at you. It's almost pleading, yet at the same time just savage looking. Mud, you are up.
Yeah, kind of without even leaving the flail go to rest after it impacted on the one. Muddle swinging around overhead at this last one. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Triggered actions. You get 1 triggered action each round. Does that reset at the end of your turn?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Well, at the end of the round.
At the end of the round. So I would be able to use a triggered action again here?
Yes.
Okay, so the ice will still be surrounding it as I swing. For 12.
Well, it does not quite hit. Just barely, once again, this damn sapling growing out of the ground twists up your chain and doesn't let your weapon get its full reach. Wolf will rush in, Mornak, intent on trying to get a hold of you. That is a 14. That one would be a hit this time for a whopping 2 points of damage. Mornak, as it just barely grazes your shin, might open a small tear on your pants, a trickle of blood, but it's not much before it's pushed back again by your energy of your spell. You are up, Mornak. This creature is quite badly wounded from Vasily's blade, but it continues to assault you.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take my staff, and I'm just going to see if I can ram it upside its head for 14 on the die.
That will hit.
Okay. And that will be 3 points of damage.
That will be enough. Go ahead and describe what you do to drop this thing.
Well, I rear back so that I've got some room. And then I take the staff and I just ram it right down its throat and I try and make it swallow the staff as far as it can. And I just keep pushing until it collapses.
Just fall back on its haunches a little bit onto its side as you just shove the hilt of this staff down its throat. Makes this gurgling sound before the other end punctures through its jugular, digging into the dirt. It'll tear free with this sickening sort of squelch.
Okay. Now I've still got a move action, right?
Yep.
Okay. I want to move to that box that guy left on the ground.
Okay. That be out of initiative. Vasily, as you glance over at your shoulder, This large wolf is there for the moment, staring back at you, still where it was, sitting on its haunches. And then you see the fog roll through these trees, thick and heavy, as it flows across. It's almost like a low cloud on the ground. And then the wolf is gone. Mornick, as you step free from these few trees that are around you and through this gutter out to the street, you can see the box lies there on the ground. Small chest, maybe a foot square in size. And though not locked, it does have a little hinged lock that goes over the top of it, but it would just be like a twist open type hinge.
Can I cast Sense Magic on it?
Yeah, if you would like to. It's does not, well, the box itself does not exude magic, but whatever's inside does of something. You get this warm, calming, nirvana-like sense that rolls from it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and open the box.
Inside, you see 3 vials, long, maybe 2 or 3 inches in length, but thin around, of this dark red, almost looks like blood inside of these vials. And there's a folded up note written on very, very old looking parchment. No, not old. It looks old styled, like something you would have used as a child, almost a strange fiber, a very old style paper. Something you haven't seen since you were young in school.
I've seen nothing like this in 800 years. Can I read what's on the paper?
You certainly can. Mud and Vasily, what do you two do as you see him go out to the road and this wolf disappear? You probably would have seen the wolf disappear as well, Mud. You muted, Tim.
I'm still brandishing my sword. I'm holding it towards the direction that that shadow or that wolf disappeared from into the shadows. I'm just going to start stalking around, looking around as I'm walking around the circle just to see if it's coming back, going to attack us from a different side.
Move around. You can see the imprint of where it was in the soft earth, the haunches, the heavy padded feet, the claws at the ends, or the nails at each end of each paw. But there doesn't seem to be any prints anywhere else around it, as if that is where it was and that is where it left. There's no trace of it around at all. You see a few small prints from these smaller wolves and kind of get a sense of where they were, and there's some here and there, but you don't see anything else or even get the sense that there's anything else around right now.
We are indeed being toyed with, though I don't know that it is the Fae.
I think it was that wolf that we saw that disappeared.
Yes, but I don't know if he's a Fae and hiding or if he's something else. I'm getting the sinking suspicion that he's something else.
Mud, do you know what he was?
Mud will look up,
Oh, it's not gonna get him.
covered in blood. I've never seen anything like it, but we need to move somewhere safe. We can't keep battling through the mist like this. Which way did that cart go? Or which way did it come from?
Cart?
Did you not see it?
I didn't see any cart.
There was a
I'm
cart.
assuming that I didn't see it.
You're facing the other way. So.
An old man came down off this carriage or cart. There were super thin horses, and he looked old as can be. And he put a box on the ground, and it's this box that I've got right here. It holds 3 strange ichors and a note.
What does the note say?
As you sit it down and open up this paper, it's soft. It brings back a bit of nostalgia of better, more innocent times for you, Mornick. Unnaturally, just kind of gives a small, warm feeling and smile on your face for the moment. Flip it open. It's small, like a small note card. And it says, "Welcome, my friends. Have a drink on me, and may your wounds be healed and your mind refreshed. It is best not to be weary on nights like this. Yours truly, Strahd von Zarovich."
I hand the note to my companions and I say, "Look at this. Are these healing potions? I don't understand."
You hold this vial up in front of you. Mornak can look at it, and yes, you've seen ones like this. These are quite stronger healing potions of sorts, rejuvenation potions you were learned about as a child. And Vasily, you might recognize them as well, but they're said to heal all wounds and refresh all energies spent within the day, as if you rested for a week or more.
Perhaps we should each take one and hold it in case some disastrous thing befalls us.
Mud coughs a little blood out. More disastrous than we've already faced.
I fear there is far worse to come.
Well, if that cart came, I wonder how far that cart came from. It had to have come from some sort of civilization then. If it came from the direction we're heading, perhaps there's some sort of town up ahead.
Is there like a lot of tracks or anything like that on this road?
No, not really. It's dry, damp to the touch, but it's not wet by any means. And you can see some old ruts and paths here and there in the path, but it doesn't look like it's well traveled or anything of that sort.
What about the ruts from the cart that just passed?
It doesn't even look like a cart recently passed. You don't see scuffs in the dirt, no tracks. It's as if nothing was there. You don't see any hoof prints. Nothing.
Either way, I believe the road may be the safest bet for us now.
Mud, walk along the road and see if your own footsteps appear, or if this is some magical thing that is stopping us from seeing tracks.
As you move down the road, scuff your feet, Mud, and stomp a little bit, it'll most certainly leave tracks. None of you particularly that are well traversed in tracking like this, but there's certainly tracks left behind.
I mean, I've spent my years hunting, but where I come from, there wasn't very many roads. So I don't know if this is normal or not.
I think we should assume it's not. Don't you think so, Versailles?
I don't think anything is right in this place.
As you glance back over your shoulders, back towards this massive stone wall and gates, you can see it in the distance. You don't really remember traveling that far away from it. It seems like you just left just shortly in the distance, but it looks far on the horizon, a good 2 or 3 miles behind you. This fog has cleared a little bit. It still hangs about the area, but not as thick as it was just moments ago. Almost like it's burning off in the morning rays of sunlight, but still just pitch black above, no moon, no stars, but this eerie full moon sort of glow. Mud, others look over at Mud, and Mud as you tramp forward a little bit further along this path, and y'all look up. In the distance, you can see tall shapes loom out of this dense fog that's starting to fade away. It's ground underfoot as you walk, Mud. It's suddenly cobblestone, wet cobblestone, a little slick to the feet, actually. And these tall shapes ahead of you, you recognize them, that they're village dwellings. You see a village in the distance. There's a picture of that over in the chat as well, of what you see. The forest on either side gives way a little bit into a valley below. Far, far beyond this village that seems to be encircled by a small river. Beyond that, you see what looks to be a massive castle, larger than anything any of you have seen in your times, up on a hill. It's miles and miles away from the mountaintop. You can see it there, just barely.
Look down the valley, friends. I see the road travels along, and I believe that's the outskirts of a village. If we,
I see it.
If we stay to the road, we may be able to make it there safely.
I say we double time it. Let's get going.
We should certainly hurry.
And hurry you do as you move down this path. This road gives way to stone and cobblestone. The hooves of the pony clacking. The hooves of your fond friend clacking. The stomping of Mud's boots. In the streets, as you slowly make your way into this town, it starts on the outskirts, quite loosely, a building here, a building there, before it looks like the more central of the town. This village is a little bit more occupied, or at least by buildings anyway. But these buildings are old. They're very, very old, decrepit. Some of them look like have been burnt down. Some look just very poorly disarray and disrepair. And even the style of them is old. It's not of the normal building that you've all been used to. Even for you, Mornak, 850 years under your belt, and these buildings, they are of a time that was even long before you. They're just old. It's strange. In this mist, it's mostly cleared away now, burned off. And it's warm here, at least a little warmer than it was out in the woods. You'll see this brick house. It's certainly seen much, much better days. This elegant Victorian style, swaying banisters, decor along the outside of it. It has a soft bluish green sort of color to it, though most of the paint's chipped away and some of the boards are rotting. The windows are dark and grimy, and it's all surrounded by this old iron fence that creaks and squeals in the wind. Neighboring homes are all abandoned, windows, doors boarded up, everything. Nobody, you don't see anything. Just only signs of life are you see two children. They were on the steps of this brick house, but you see that they have walked across the yard. They're out in the middle of the street now. They look very frightened, look around, almost confused as they glance around. This small girl, maybe 10, and a little boy that clings to her. He can't be much more than 5 or 6. He whimpers as he wraps his arms around her, and you can see she puts her arms around him almost instinctively as she looks back and forth in a bit of a panic. Her pale skin, she's very pale. Not dead. It looks like she's just been hiding away in darkness for maybe her whole life. She looks around before she sees the 3 of you coming down the road, and she'll pull at this little boy as she hurries towards you.
I step forward and kneel down towards them. Children, we need shelter. Are your parents nearby?
You see this girl look up. This little boy lets out a bit of a whimper. And it looks like he might try to say something or whatever, but the words come out kind of mumbled. You'll notice, Vasily, as you look over it, that he has a very badly cleft lip, and his tongue looks like it's deformed or not fully formed or something. So you can see that he has some sort of speech impairment. Shush. I will deal with him. See this girl look over and says, yes, they are. And she'll kind of nod, but there's a monster in our basement. And they went down to deal with the beast. And I fear the worst for them. Can you help me? My father is very wealthy. He can offer you bed and respite, food. But I feel something has happened. They've been down there, and all we've heard is screams. And my brother, just an infant, Walter, he's upstairs. I didn't know what to do. I was just trying to find somebody to help. And perhaps fate has brought you. But can you help me, please? Please.
What sort of beast is it? What sort of monster?
I don't know. I could hear the screams, and Mother, she always said that we weren't allowed in the basement, and something that was down there, they were able to control it. We weren't allowed down in the basement. This time I believe it's perhaps something has went wrong. They haven't returned to whatever. I don't know where they went. The screams are silenced, and I feel the worst. I don't know what to do. And my brother, he was whimpering, and she'll put her hand on the smaller lad that she has with him. And, Thorn, my brother here, he's scared. She says, my name is Rose. Rosavalda.
What about your neighbors? Did they go to help to any of your neighbors?
We haven't had neighbors, and I've never known neighbors. We go into town often. She'll sort of motion over her shoulder. The main heart of the town is probably another half a mile or so inward. You can see just a few outcropping buildings here and there. Most of them look like farms, or like this one, they have just large plantations behind them. I was going to go run into town until I saw you. If you can't help, then perhaps you can at least help me into town quickly. But I fear the worst. It's my dear mother and father.
You've never been into town?
No, I have not. We don't get out very often in these dark times.
So I look at my comrades and say, we'll take you home, see if there's anything left. See if there's anything to save. Otherwise, then we could take you to town if it's all lost at your house.
Oh, yes, I would. My father is very wealthy. He would pay you in riches if that is what you deem he needs. But I don't know I don't know what else to do. And she'll hold this little lad who's like just tears are streaming down his face. You can hear he mumbles and tries to speak, but he really isn't capable as he just clings to this girl. He does have what looks to be a teddy bear sorts that he holds in hand. It's sort of dragging across the ground with him. The whole bottom of it's dirt and caked with filth. And
Was there anybody else in the house besides for your parents?
yes, we have the nursemaid, but she was upstairs, and I went to get her, but she wasn't in her room. I don't know where she is. Perhaps she's went to town already for help, but I don't know. And my brother, just an infant, he's only 2 months old, up in the nursery.
No strangers that came in the night to visit?
Not that I know of. I've been asleep. And she kind of points up to this building as you look over has 3 stories and then an attic above that. And she sort of motions up towards the 3rd floor and says, I've been in my room with my brother most of the evening, and we were fast asleep before we heard the screams. And we just ran down here right away.
I turn to my comrades and say, well, shall we go take a look?
We have to get the child out first.
She says, yes, Walter, you can hear him crying. In the house he was screaming. Perhaps he's only hungry. I don't believe he's in danger, at least not at the moment. If you all listen, you can indeed hear what sounds to be a crying infant that kind of echoes out from the 3rd floor of the building.
I think we should go forth and find this child and the parents. Slay any beasts we must.
You could hear the beasts growling, the screams, and the leashes. It's horrifying. I've always been told not to go down there, and whatever it is that my parents have, they kept us safe from it. My father called it a curse that infected the family. I don't know, but he will pay you handsomely, I promise. Very wealthy, and even if not, we have fine food and rest. I'll offer whatever we can. He's a good man.
Well, lead the way.
She'll pull this small child with her, his teddy bear. Notice this teddy bear is really strange, though, and seems to have an extra arm that's sewn to it. The eyes are a bit crooked. Its face, its mouth isn't like that of what you would know as a childhood's teddy bear. Instead, it's all twisted and has sharp little fangs that are etched into it. Oddly colored, almost a silverish gray fur to the thing. Just very unnatural looking, but he clings to it dearly. You see the young girl go over. you come up to these rusted wrought iron gates. Creaks open the gates, and up ahead you can see the doorway to this house that's ahead of you. Big, heavy wooden doors that look like they open outward. What's kind of hanging open a few inches from when they ran out the door, when she hadn't fully closed it. You can definitely hear the crying of the infant inside. The rest of the yard around it, though, is just old dirt, weeds, twisted old tree in the back of the house, far out quite a ways. He says, "Please, I thank you. I don't know what else, but my brother Walter, just a young infant on the third floor. The nurses made us directly across the hall. I don't know. I didn't see her when we came out, but she may still be in there. I don't know, but please, anything you can do to help. I fear for mother and father."
Show us in.
And she'll reach up to take your hand if you let her, Vasily.
Yeah.
She'll have these cold fingers. She's not unnaturally cold. She's not undead by any means, or like that. But she's definitely chilled to the touch. Fairly paler skinned. You get the sense that she really hasn't been out for a long time, if at all. As she leads you forward, on your other hand, she leads the small boy up the steps to the doorway. I can't go in much to. Please, go ahead.
No, just lead us inside the house.
We'll open this heavy door and step inside. It looks to be just a small foyer of sorts. The doors beyond the foyer, this small, like a 10-foot square room. You can see boots and clothes peeped in the corner. Some pictures on the wall, just decorative scenery type pictures. And she'll step inside there and step to the side for whoever else wants to come through the door.
As she's leading us there, I pull out one of my healing potions and drink one of them.
Just one of the regular ones?
Yeah, just one of my regular ones.
Actually, on that note, question. I know endurance points we gain some when we do a full rest. Did we start with any?
Any?
The endurance points?
You mean the health?
Yeah, you had mentioned in the primer that we were going to do the endurance points that you can kind of burn as a.
Actually, and be honest, I forgot all about that.
Easy enough.
Yeah, all of you could have one endurance point. Just make a note on your sheet, and I will make sure the rules are all updated for that. But basically, you can spend them to do healing and stuff. Yeah, I totally forgot, to be honest. Thank you.
I was just looking through.
But yeah, so you would all have like one endurance point for the moment, which you can use to heal your healing rate, essentially.
Yeah, which
how long did it take for us to get here?
It's hard to tell. You know that your spells that you had worn off.
So at least 4 hours?
Yeah, you have to guess.
Oh.
It seems maybe 4 to 5 hours. It's hard to say, but.
Well, I'm going to once again cast Arcane Armor on myself, which will last another 4 hours.
Alrighty.
I'm going to take a moment to steel myself and actually spend that endurance point to heal my healing rate.
What else can we do with it? Is it just to
Yep, just a healing rate thing. I'll have to double check the rules for it. Do you have it right there, Jesse? Oh, you're muted.
Yes, I do.
If you don't mind reading it, I just don't have it up on my page.
Yeah, basically, we can only use one endurance point per action. We regain 1d3 endurance points after full rest. You can never have more endurance points than your current healing rate. And while you must have at least one endurance point to use this benefit, it is possible to fall into the negative from things such as disease or sickness. Basically, it's kind of like burning a hit die, but you can actually use it as an action as well.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and burn mine too, so that'll take me down to 1 point of damage.
So yeah, you would all have one, and when you make a full rest, you'll gain 1d3 back, so sort of like a pool, and you can pool them up to your healing rate. But again, some things might take them away from you. So, all right. And again, this girl will step into the side. You can see she is trembling like crazy as she grips your hand tightly. Vasily, she steps to the side. This little boy just clinging to her in like this death grip. And you'll see in the foyer that you're at, this cold outside seems to wash away a little bit as you cling or get away from these outside dampness and step into the house. It still hangs here a little bit, but directly in front of you, these heavy oaken doors that must lead further back into the house or out of, into the main room. And you find yourself in this immaculate looking foyer. It's besides the muddy boots and clothes in the corner, seems almost spotless. The wood paneling is polished, decorated with portraits and heraldries. And you see a family of stony-faced aristocrats that watch you with disinterest on these portraits, staring out. Some of them look quite old, other ones in pencil-y graphite drawings, some are painted. And you see above that this golden plaque that reads, "The Dursts," in this dull gold lettering. On the opposite wall, to your left, you will see a shield that is emblazoned with a coat of arms, one that looks very familiar to you, Mornak, and it sends a bit of a chill up your spine. This picture of this golden windmill on a red field, surrounded by these mahogany frame. You've seen that before, Mornak. Can't quite remember where. Remember a time that you spent in slavery. You've seen that before, but you've heard that whatever it came from or wherever it was, something that was once a quite noble family, a very wealthy family that held these arms, but your experiences weren't quite as good.
I go over to the shield and see if I can take it off the wall.
Yep, it's just like a basic small shield, but it is quite fancy in decor. It doesn't look like it'd give you much protection, as it's quite thin, more for decorative purposes. But
okay, I'm gonna look on the back of it, see if it says anything.
It says, "Forged in flame for the lord of the house, one Gustav Durst." This little girl will look at you.
Well, if it doesn't look like it's going to be of any like defensive use, I'll just hang it back up on the wall.
More of just a fancy decor.
Well, I'm going to take the kids over to one of the corners. Is there like coats or anything around?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm going to take some of the coats down, set them over in the corner, and put the coats around them. Say, "Stay here and wait for us."
Little boy just clings to this girl, but she nods. "Oh, thank you so much. Please don't forget us here. Please don't forget us." She huddles down and pulls this cloak. It looks like quite a large man's coat that she wraps around here tightly. And the boy, and they push them back sort of into the corner as far as they can get. And her hands trembling a bit as she pulls it tighter. "Please don't forget us."
I won't forget. But stay here and stay quiet.
And
if we're not back in within an hour or two, then take off and head to town.
She'll shush this little boy who's whimpering on her shoulder, trying to calm him down. Nods.
And while I'm doing that, and I'll load my crossbow.
What does Mud and Mornak do as you see him dealing with these children? You see these old family portraits, this coat of arms on the wall.
Pretty sure Mud's just going to keep working his way towards the stairwell, with the sounds of the child crying.
So, Mud, as you step forward and throw open these double doors that leads into the main area of the house out of this small little entryway, it's almost breathtaking as all of you look in. Sconces along the wall light up the house to a warm glow. There's a bit of warmth as well. There's a fireplace off to the side. The gloom beyond the foyer into this main hall, its walls are paneled wood, ornately carved with idyllic scenes of frolicking nymphs and satyrs. At one end of the hall, you see the sweeping red marble staircase that rises up towards the ceiling. On opposite of that is this fireplace, all made out of black marble, and it gives off this warm glow. The embers are quite low inside of it. It looks like the fire is mostly burned out, but it still gives off a nice sense of warmth. You'll also see 4 doors directly ahead of you. It would be on the wall. You're facing directly ahead, across the way, and one just to your right around the corner, Mud.
Once I finish loading my crossbow, I catch up to Mud.
I knew of whole tribes that could fit in this house. Only one small family lives here?
It is quite massive, this room that you're in, 30 feet across and probably 60, maybe more feet in length. Quite a grandiose hall.
The feeling of looking at all these doors is going to be quite the maze. As I head over to the one door by itself, is that on the left?
Yep, just directly to your right around the corner.
Oh, to the right. Okay. It's on the same wall that we're coming from?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm going to put my ear to it and listen.
As you step towards it, and you go to listen, you can see this, or rather hear this music that floats down this large sweeping staircase. It doesn't come from the room as you get ready to hear, but instead from the stairwell itself. It's all right. I mean, it starts and stops, and sections are repeated. It sounds like rather amateurish as far as you're concerned. Not very good, but whoever's doing it is a novice, and, well, at least they're practicing, right? The door itself, as you listen to that, is just silence beyond.
Okay, I'll start heading towards the stairs then.
Just a single step, and the music stops.
I hurry up and catch up with my companions.
Oops, I didn't catch that, Mornak. You're really quiet.
Sorry about that. Let me turn my volume up. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just catching up with the rest of them.
Okay.
I'll take the opportunity as we all get together to point out the carvings to both my compatriots. Is these the Fae folk you talk about? You said it was carvings of like
of satyrs, nymphs, fae of sorts, but as you look closer, Bud, in between all these woodworks, it's as if these satyrs and fae are dancing smiles on their faces in between trees. And it's quite a glorious carving, but strange. In between the branches and in between their writhing bodies, you see snakes, skulls, just a sense of disturbing grossness.
Pull my hand back away from the carvings. There's more to this.
What do you see, Mud? What is it?
Look closely at the carvings. There's a darkness behind that happiness. There's evil in the garden.
The carving is exquisite. Absolutely, you can see it would take years, decades maybe, to carve something like this into every panel of woodwork around this room. But yes, it's both glorious and disturbing at the same time.
Let's get up to find that child and get out of this place.
I have academic folklore. Do I get anything out of these pictures, folklorically?
Give me an intellect roll and give yourself a boon.
Seven.
You look at this. Not really. You can recognize the nymphs and the nature thing. You get an idea that looks like it's some sort of metaphorical thing, but you're not really sure. but it's still very, very fine craftsmanship at the least.
This place keeps putting me on edge even more and more.
I nod my head and I start walking towards the stairs.
Get to this edge of these stairs. They're red marble, crafted and carved out, each tile laid perfectly. It's quite a grand staircase as you look up. It circles all the way up and around to the second floor. You can see, even beyond that, it twists up to a third.
The young one said the child's on the third floor, correct?
I believe so.
We should move quickly.
Yes, we should. Mud, perhaps you can come up behind and make sure that nothing sneaks up behind me.
Absolutely.
Miss Celia, you might take a step. Mornak. As you start to take a few steps on these stairs, you'll hear this heavy coughing, almost like a smoker's cough, coming from that doorway that you were standing, getting ready to listen to. Miss Celia.
Oh, from back behind us?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I turn around and look towards that direction, see if I see anything.
Nope, the door is closed, but it sounds like whatever was coughing or whomever it might have been was inside that room. You could definitely hear him coughing a few times, and it sounds like a chair being scuffed across the floor or something.
So, oh, if there's someone in that room behind us. And I walk over there. I'm going to look through the peephole, or the keyhole.
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
17.
Okay. Sorry.
A 13?
17.
Oh, thanks. Crouch down and look through this keyhole beyond. You can see the room is lit with a good, warm, reddish sort of glow. You get the idea there must be another fireplace that's sort of out of sight in here. But directly across, you can see what looks to be a large piano and then a harp that rests beside that. And you can see what looks to be a couple chairs scattered around it and a stuffed stag, like a taxidermied stag, resting against the wall. And yes, you can hear somebody moving around, but they're out of sight from what you can see into the room. You can hear their footsteps as they walk across the floor and another soft cough.
With my crossbow in hand, I reach down and grab the door and slowly, quietly see if I can open it.
Give me a agility. See how quietly.
7.
Even though you twist this handle and you're pulling it out slow, seems like as well crafted and nice as this house is, the hinges still need to be oiled a little bit as they let out a creak. But as you open the door, you look into this dark room. There's only a small light against the back wall, a sconce that has a bit of orange light rolling from it. Otherwise, it's just gloom. This cool draft flows out of it. You can see the piano and the harp across the way and this taxidermied stag, but there's no warm fire. There's nobody in here that you can see, at least not from your vantage point in front of the door.
So now that I have the door open, there's no fireplace in there?
Do you take a look around in there?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you can step in, and as you turn to the left and look where at least you thought there was a fireplace, there is indeed a fireplace, but it's unlit, just cold black marble. You can see 3 wolves against the back wall, their snarls frozen, as they're fortunately just taxidermied. Another stag's head is mounted above this unlit fireplace. And very fine chairs are draped in furs. Bits of weaponry hangs on the walls, crossbows, bows, arrows, bolts. There's a large table right in the center of the room that looks like it has a cask of wine, cups. They're glasses, they're all empty. A very fine looking pipe. Cabinets line one wall.
I'm going to very carefully look around inside, and then once I'm sure that nothing's going to jump out at me. I'm going to say, hello, I heard a voice in here. I heard a sound in here. Someone alive in here.
You hear your own voice echo back softly, but seems to resonate in this room. It would certainly be an excellent room for music. Perhaps that's why the piano's here, is the resonance is quite beautiful. But there's nobody here, just an empty, darkened room, save for a tiny sconce on the far wall.
I'd like to cast sense thoughts to see if there are any thoughts in this room.
There is not. There is nothing that seems to be around you.
There's nothing in here. We're wasting our time.
There was something in there. And I close the door and I head back towards the stairs.
Does everybody follow along?
Yeah, Mud was still kind of halfway back towards the stairs to let the other two go past him, and then he'll kind of work his way up the stairs with his shield, keeping an eye on the stairs behind us.
You move up these steps and circle around to the second floor. Opens up into another large hall, almost as large as the main hall below you. This cold draft seems to sweep down the marble staircase from the third floor up above you. Directly ahead of you as you come off this stairwell, you'd have to walk over to the side to go up the next ramp up. But this room, above this mantelpiece across the way, hangs another portrait of the family. You see this young girl that you were spoken with outside, Rose, she called herself, standing, a small child, this lad that is her brother, beside her. You see their mother, her face is darkened with this hint of scorn as she looks over at the father, a very, very large man who cradles a swaddled baby. Suits of armor flank this room, 4 of them in total, 1 in each corner. All of them clutch spears, and they have this glorious carved and forged wolf-shaped visors over top of them. There's 2 doors here, one to your right and one to your left, and then the stairway that sweeps up to the 3rd floor. Again, there's a warm sconce on either side of the wall that lights up this room a little bit. Immaculately carved walls. This time it looks like, look a little closer. Yes, it's young children that look like they're frolicking and dancing, playing, or doing something.
I keep going up the stairs.
Do we still hear the child?
You do not.
Do not.
I follow a safe distance behind my companion.
Does everybody continue onward up to the next floor?
Yes.
As you walk across this floor to the ceiling, you hear who's clacking on the marble tiles. You could swear that these 4 suits of armor sort of watch as you walk across to the next set of marble staircases and up that one as well. This staircase delivers you to the full height of this building, to the 3rd floor. Up here is a complete stark contrast to what you just saw. Here, the walls are caked in cobwebs, the air's choked with dust. It's grime, dirty, leaves, old grime covers the floor. Directly ahead of you, as you come off the staircase into the 3rd hall, it's not as large as the other ones, but directly in front of you is this towering suit of black armor. It is maybe nearly 10 feet in height. It doesn't look like it was made for man, more as a souvenir or a fancy decor. It's obviously not something you could wear unless you were quite large, but it stands there just in silence. You hear this infant's cry cut the silence. Comes off from what looks to be the right. Yes, there's a large door to the right. You can hear this infant crying, screaming, not in pain, just a typical grind.
I go over to the door, look through the keyhole, see if I can look underneath of the door, see if I can see anything that's inside.
As you move across this floor and past this suit of armor, you see at first Mud. Its arm jerks just a little bit. Give me a perception check, Vasily.
That's a 14.
14. So you won't be caught by surprise, but you will, just as you step past the suit of armor, you too see the arm move a little bit, and Mornak, you do as well. As this thing juts out, this heavy, massive spear jutting directly in front of you, just barely grazing across your throat. Vasily blocking your way, and then it bursts into motion, flailing the spear about in one hand. The other hand kind of comes around from beside it, and it has this long three-headed flail, large balls of spikes at the end of each. As this thing goes into motion. And I think that will be a good spot to swing it for the night. If anybody wants to do your last move, what you guys do is you see this thing go into a flurry of attack.
I'll fall to the ground and bleed to death.
At least it's not a wolf.
Yeah. An animated armor. I don't think my crossbow's going to do much to it.
Well, at least you saved your perception check. Otherwise, it would have been a really nasty.
Oh, yeah, that's, wow, okay.
So yeah, it's basically this 10-foot suit of black armor with a spear and three-headed flail. And we will call it there for the evening, fellows. So it's good for me.
All right.
Sounds great.
Let me end this broadcast.